What's up guys, Wally here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 10 rules of work that I learned from this amazing book by Richard Templar called The Rules of Work. This is going to be the first of many book reviews on this channel and books that I find incredibly valuable and one that will be of great help to your career. Now, I've had this book for a little over 5 years now and I've read it about 3 times, and every time I face a difficult situation at work or I'm confused on how to respond to a situation, I always refer to this book to figure out what to do. So let's start by diving deeper into each one of the 10 rules from the book and how you can implement each one in your career. By the way, be sure to give this video a like if you find it useful and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Also, stick around to the end because I will share with you my favorite rule amongst the 10 rules. All right, let's jump in. Rule number 1, walk your talk. Now, walk your talk is all about getting your work noticed, making sure that you're not just slaving away and no one knows how much effort you're putting into your work. For most people, the workplace is the most competitive environment you would find yourself. And if you think about the environment where we spend most of our time as humans, at home, at social gatherings, and at work. And at work, there is a pressure to bring your A game, to stand out, and the most obvious way to stand out from the crowd is to be exceptionally good at what you do. However, being exceptionally good may not be enough, and the author gives other examples of how to stand out from the crowd and how not to. For example, if your job requires you to process many invoices a day, and so does everyone else in your team, then processing more invoices will not do so much good for you. A better way may be to provide an unsolicited report about how everyone else, including yourself, can process more invoices. This will show that you are thinking on your feet, you're being proactive, and you're using your initiative. Rule 2, know that you're being judged at all times. Basically, we all judge. We judge others on how they look, on how they dress, on how they speak, write. We even judge if someone doesn't smile. And so this rule speaks to projecting the best version of yourself every time you interact with others by paying attention to things like personal grooming, being attractive, speaking well, and writing well. It means if you have a bad posture, fix it. If you can't speak well, then take a speaking class. If your writing is poor, then learn how to write better. Rule number 3 is have a plan. What do you want in the long term from your work? What do you want in the short term? Do you have a game plan? Do you have a set of objectives? According to the author, it is almost impossible to be successful or get promoted if you don't have set objectives. And having answers to all these questions will give you some clarity as to whether you're on the right track. If you're happy with the direction your career is taking you, then you should develop a game plan on moving up the career ladder. Now, rule number 4 is if you can't say anything nice, shut up. Everyone loves to hear nice things about themselves. So knowing how to say nice things to people is really important, especially when your opinion is being sought after. Of course, this doesn't mean you should go around flattering people. No one likes it when they're being flattered, but at least being courteous will earn you a mark of respect. You have to make sure that anything that comes out of your mouth makes sense and is value adding. Otherwise, as the rule says, it's better to keep quiet. Rule number 5, look after yourself. As you begin to gain some successes, people will begin to notice you and you may soon become a subject of envy and jealousy. So this rule emphasizes the need to generally look after yourself and not be naive to think that everyone will wish you well. So make sure you don't make yourself a target for praise by being involved in unethical issues or allowing others to hurt you by being naive or careless. And for me, one way I protect myself is to always keep records of commendations from your manager, for example, so that you can use them to pull yourself out of trouble when you get into one. Rule number 6 is blending. As much as rule 1 says there is need for you to stand out from the crowd, rule 6 is the other side of the coin. And as the author says, better you are the leader of a pack than a fish that swims in a different direction to the rest of the shore. In other words, you must belong to a pack or a group of people that aligns with your personality or your interests. If you're just out all by yourself in the open, then you are susceptible to being preyed on. And so in blending in, the author stresses that we do not give up our identity or become a clone or lose all sense of individuality. And if you think about it, it's actually not far from the truth. We tend to think and behave in ways that conform with others in the group rather than as individuals. And this phenomenon is known as the herd mentality. And so in order to blend in, the author suggests that you know your company culture, you speak the language, you dress up or down accordingly, you know where to hang out and where not to, you understand the social protocols, and most importantly, you understand the herd mentality. Now, rule number 7 from the book says, act one step ahead. This is my most favorite rule because it gives room for role playing, which I find quite interesting. If you're going to move to the top, you had better just start practicing now. And this rule emphasizes the need to dress, talk, act, and think one step ahead, as if you are already in the next position, in the next role. For instance, if the managers in your company speak in a certain way, you must find ways to incorporate that into your communication when you're doing it with others. And one way to do that is to always talk in terms of we rather than I. And this is something I had to deliberately start practicing when I go for meetings. And the truth is, as a junior employee, it sounds so much cooler than I initially thought. If you're not used to saying we, it will sound weird at first, but if you keep at it, it sounds cooler at the end. And another way to act one step ahead is to spend more time with senior employees. This is something that can also be weird at first. Oftentimes, if a senior employee is sitting alone eating lunch, most junior employee will be too nervous to chat them up, and their initial thought will be, what am I supposed to say? But if you can summon the courage to engage and have a chat, it somewhat increases your value in their eyes and you'll be better off for it. Rule number 8, cultivate diplomacy. As a roles player, you must never get into a fight and you must never lose your temper. But when a conflict breaks out, because it will eventually break out, it is critical that find a way to resolve them by asking the right questions. So diplomacy means not taking sides in an argument, staying on the fence in the midst of maybe two other people arguing, and being a mediator. One of the major triggers of conflict is unsolicited opinions. And this rule stresses the need to keep your opinion to yourself. Just like rule number 4, if you don't have anything nice, shut up. So never share your opinion if you're not being asked to. Never get personal. And most importantly, always put things into perspective. That at the end of the day, it's just a job, and you going back to your family hill and healthy is the most important thing. Rule number 9, know the system and milk it. We all know that there are unspoken rules in the workplace, and getting access to some of those information might make the difference in certain areas of your work life. One of those rules is knowing when to stay late and when to go on time. This is so important, especially with most workplaces in Nigeria. I know some places where you cannot just carry your bag and leave once it is close of business, or where you must wait for the boss to leave before leaving. And how do you handle such situation? In the book, the author does not subscribe to working beyond normal hours, and as a role player, you get your work done in record time so that you can leave on time. However, knowing how to do that will depend on whether you've identified the people that count and whether you're on the right side of those people. That will then determine how you can then leave the office if you want to, right, on time. That will determine if you get some certain favors in the office. But most importantly, just being on the right side of the right people means that you would rarely get yourself into trouble. And if you do get into trouble, you'll most likely get yourself out of it. Now, the last rule, rule number 10, is handle the opposition. Now, this rule talks about how to handle the opposition, firstly by identifying those who are in the opposition and studying them closely to know how to handle them. Just like we said in the earlier rule, I think it's rule 5, look after yourself. It is important to know that you would have opposition, and identifying those people and knowing how to handle them is so important in, progressing in a workplace. And this is all part of, playing the politics and knowing the politics in the workplace, because the actual work itself is just a small part of, the real work. If I were to say it that way, it's just a small part of the real work. The real work is the politicking, and doing all of that in the workplace. Now, I know people have this sense of, oh, politics is bad and you shouldn't do it. But the truth is that there are actually good politics and bad politics. So you need to figure out how you can play politics the right way, without compromising on any of your core values, or without getting into unethical situations. So overall, this is a very powerful book, one that I encourage you to read as many times as possible. And as you read, you know which roles to apply to your immediate needs and which ones to gloss over. So not all the rules are applicable, and I really want you to pick and choose. So for me, I don't follow all the rules here because some of them might not be applicable to my situation. So that's it for me today. I hope you found this video useful. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.